Chapter 10. For now. I had seen Mrs. Byrne almost every school day since the beginning of first grade. More than 700 school days. A lot of those days I had spent more time in the same room with Mrs. Byrne than I had with my mom or dad. So I'd had plenty of time to form a clear opinion about her. And in my opinion, Mrs. Byrne was one of the best people in the whole school. I had never seen her lose her temper, and she always seemed fair and open-minded, which makes sense. Why would a narrow-minded person be a librarian? And now Mrs. Byrne was standing in front of me, waiting. She wanted me to explain why a kid who just got a bunch of D's was exploring so many challenging subjects on the internet. One of the first things I learned at school was how to read a teacher's face. It's a school survival skill, and all kids become experts at it. But as we stood there, face to face in the library, me looking up, her looking down, I could not figure out what was going on behind Mrs. Byrne's greenish-brown eyes. So I started off cautiously. I said, "I like to read about a lot of things." She smiled slightly. "I already know that much, Nora. I want to know about your grades. It's perfectly clear to me now that you are not a below-average student, or even an average student. Far from it. And you've been hiding that from me and everyone else at school." She paused with her head tilted as she figured out something else. Then she said, "And your parents don't know how bright you are either, do they?" I shook my head. "So why have you been keeping this a secret?" she asked. I told her the truth in the simplest way I could. I said, "I didn't want to be different all the time. I mean, I am different, and I know that. I just didn't want everyone else to treat me that way, because it's not their business." Mrs. Byrne nodded slowly. "I can understand that, I think. But why the low grades?" I had to trust her. I had no choice. I said, "I did that on purpose. I'm trying to do something about grades. Everyone makes way too big a deal about them." Mrs. Byrne's eyebrows scrunched above her nose. She shook her head and said, "But why get D's? How can that help?" "Well," I said, "those D's already have my teachers and my parents and the principal thinking and talking about grades, right? And I hope they're going to think a lot more about grades and tests too, because I've got sort of a plan." Then I looked her right in the eye and said, "Except if you tell on me, I don't think it will work." No expression. "What are you trying to accomplish with this plan?" "Nothing bad," I said quickly. I almost started to tell about Stephen, but I didn't. I didn't want anyone to think he was involved. So I said, "Most kids never talk about it, but a lot of the time bad grades make them feel dumb. And almost all the time it's not true. And good grades can make other kids think that they're better, and that's not true either. And then all the kids start competing and comparing. The smart kids feel smarter and better and get all stuck up. And the regular kids feel stupid, like there's no way to ever catch up. And the people who are supposed to help kids, the parents and the teachers, they don't. They just add more pressure and keep making up more and more tests."